And good evening. It's time to finish up the roster talk for Deep Dish Football Week 6 between Batavia and Geneva, as voted by you, the fans. Go through the Geneva rosters and the Batavia roster. Some players to look at, few of the groupings, the core groupings of both teams. Just something to look at. It's going to be an impressive game, rivalry game. Geneva 2-3, Batavia 5-0. I've already spotlighted my two players to look at from Geneva. Murray, quarterback, and at nose tackle, um, my McFadden, tall, small, basically small little nose guard, but he gets the job done. Little tough SOB up the middle, simple as that. He creates piles. So let's get started. It's going to be an interesting game. The things that I was most impressed with, two things that I was impressed with the roster. Geneva, the number of athletes that they have. Batavia, their offensive and defensive line, and Batavia's wide receivers. I was completely impressed with. One other thing I was impressed with, both teams, the size that they have. I haven't seen that many big boys since Crystal Lake up north. I I wasn't expecting 6'3", 6'4". I wasn't expecting that on the line. Completely impressed with Batavia and Geneva's line. Of course, you know Ake from Batavia, hell of a player. But there's another guy. I'll talk about the guys too. So let's get started. Now, and I told this to everyone, I do not acknowledge injuries. I do not talk about injuries. So if there's any kids injured, I will still talk about them. I just do not. I think it's wrong for any media person to talk about a minor's injury. So I'm not going to say anything. I will talk about that player though, just to give you guys fair warning. Okay, first, Michael Nemec, unbelievable defensive back, ranked defensive back for Deep Dish Football. Hell of a player, playmaking safety, deserves a lot more respect that he's getting. Is basically has a talent to go to Division One. Reggie Phillips, a running back, good kid, character report, good, smart kid, unbelievable talent for Batavia. Again, deserves a lot more respect that he's getting. Next, Nolanik, D1 offensive tackle. I just committed to Central Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, or a different school. But again, another great offensive lineman, one of the best in the state of Illinois. Reggie Phillips, one of the better running backs in the state of Illinois. Michael Nemec, one of the best safeties in the state of Illinois. I mean, you have a group of talented players in your senior class talking about Batavia. For outside linebacker and inside backer, he could, if he's fast enough, he could play a little bit of the rover spot or bandit spot. Michael Jensei, he's a junior. Completely impressed with him this summer. He's a guy that you want to keep an eye out for. They also have a good. The impressive thing with Batavia that I was completely impressed with too is their running back core. They have one of the best running back cores that I've seen in a while, especially with their size and their athleticism. They got hell of a defensive. They have a hell of a defensive line that I was completely impressed with. I think if I'm not mistaken, the kid's name is Daniel Stewart. That's the kid that I was thinking about, opposite of Eek, who I was completely taken aback by, very impressed by his size. And they have a good group of juniors, Batavia, where they could build on that success for next season. And to say that Batavia is not going to challenge for a state title this year would be completely insane. They have a hell of a team, and basically just taught to basically tough nose way, discipline, execution, and all the other stuff that I've said before. Um, I think the key, if I probably got the quarterback wrong, their quarterback is going to be the key. If he can less um, the ratio, turnover ratio, completion percentage. If you were to give me those stats, I could tell you if it's going to be a successful playoff season or not. And the main key will be that quarterback for Batavia. Don't make mistakes. Strike when the iron's hot, and basically just manage this offensive line. Simple as that. That's all you got to ask for. And but he's also a very talented quarterback. I think I know the quarterback coach too, and he's a hell of a coach too, if I'm not mistaken. But that offensive line and defensive line coach deserve all the respect in the world for Batavia. They do a hell of a job. I'm looking for one of the other linemen that I wanted to talk about at Batavia. He was a defensive end. I can't find his name. Anyways, no, I talked about McFadden. He's a hell of a player. He gets the job done, takes the punishment, but he keeps ticking. Evan Holden, the offensive guard, is another guy to look out for. Nicholas Conger, another box safety to keep a close eye out for. I think it's Michael Batch, defensive end, is a player that is another player to keep a nice little bit of a close eye on. And Jack Trizine, I think he's the other defensive end that I saw that looked pretty good too. They do rotate, which is a smart move, and it tells you the level of talent and the ability of them, especially in the playbook, to get the rotation going, where the kids actually know the plays and know what they're doing. So that's a good thing to see for Batavia football. Okay, so let's get to Geneva football, shall we? Okay. Yeah, just trying to get this team. All right, Bobby Murray, I talked about, hell of a quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks to take under center. Simple as that. Some players to keep a close eye out for: Ian Hansen, Troy Tams, uh, two athletes to look out for. Jake Temple, another wide receiver, completely impressed with. They have a couple few double play two-way players to look out for. Riley Waldock, running back. Cole Campbell, defensive end, really like him, edge rusher. Alex Roof, offensive tackle, 6'4", keep a nice little bit of eye out for him. I really do think that he is one of the most underrated offensive tackles in the state of Illinois. Not that many offensive linemen with that size, and his ability to basically zero in on the defender that's rushing. He does a great job of it. Little needs to work on the first step, a little bit raw, but he can do a lot. Noah Sterling Hood, another player to look out for. There's another offensive lineman I want to talk about too that I was completely impressed with, taken aback by. Frank Martin, 6'4", junior guard, interior guy, is another player to look out for too. I'm trying to go down. There's another guy that I want to talk about. They actually got a good little group of tight ends. Max McLaughlin, 6'5", tight end. There's another tight end that I want to talk about. I'm trying to find his name. Well, they have a good youth offensive line. Next year, they're gonna have a lot of seniors that are gonna be graduating. It'll be interesting to see what they do the sophomore game, which I will be at the Batavian Geneva sophomore game, to see the talent level of the Geneva sophomore team, see what they got. But again, they got a Hall of Fame coach, but Geneva, he does a hell job. He does a hell of a job with that team. Bobby Murray, great quarterback. Really impressed with Ian Hansen and Troy Tams. Jake Temple, I was really impressed more with Ian Hansen as also as a wide receiver too. He did a hell of a job too. Completely taken back by their two safeties. Again, the two safety set. If you have two safeties that are pretty good, especially in high school football, you can have a good season because most of the times the quarterback always, especially in high school football, looks for the deep ball and doesn't look for the short passing route. And that's a serious problem, especially in high school football. And the funny thing with Bobby Murray is he goes towards the short route, and that's what makes him even more special because his ability to not panic and not throw the deep ball and throw an interception, which is completely impressive, especially for the Geneva offense. But we'll see what happens. But Troy Tamsin, I've said this, Ian Hansen, and Bobby Murray play the lays a little bit safety. There's another safety that I'm forgetting about too. They do a good job. They had some tough losses this season, but if they get into the playoffs, they can make some noise. And I said this before. All they got to do is get to the playoffs. I think 5 wins can get them in, especially with the playoff points for that conference that they are in and the points that they have played. Unbelievable. But just keep a close eye out for Geneva football and that roster. And especially some of the younger offensive linemen. I was completely impressed with the size of the offensive linemen for Geneva and their athletes. Are completely taken back by Geneva's athletes. So it's going to be interesting. So this has been basically the roster spotlight for both teams. Going to be there Friday night, Geneva versus Batavia at Geneva. Deep Dish Football Game of the Week 6 is voted by you. Please visit deepdishfootball.com. Please follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. Deep Dish Football Live is at 8 p.m. tomorrow and Thursday, 8 p.m. Breakfast with Coach Big Pete at 9 a.m. All on Facebook Live on the Deep Dish Football Facebook page. Be sure you follow. Be sure you go to deepdishfootball.com. I will have it all on the Deep Dish Football Game of the Week link, so you can see all the videos that I have posted for Geneva and Batavia. Also, scroll down. I did put up some magic numbers for the games. Check them out for for this big rivalry game between Geneva and Batavia. And if you like my work, please feel free to leave a tip/donation on deepdishfootball.com on the right-hand section via PayPal. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night, and keep it here for more talk about the Deep Dish Football Game of the Week.